honestly, guys, I'm going to take a break. There's some new Marvel Rivals info about 2 new heroes are now leaked. Also, abilities for Blade have also been leaked by the best leaker. New skins have been leaked, and also the new heroes actually weren't leaked. They were actually shown off by Twitch themselves. So, I'm going to show you 2 videos explaining all that because I need to take a break, honestly. So, these are those 2 videos. Let's get right in. This YouTuber is actually a really great YouTuber, by the way. I support his YouTube channel. He is so cool. Best Marvel Rivals info person you could have. Better than me, honestly.
Yo, what's going on, guys? dylbobz here. Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Today we have a huge leak for Season 3 confirming both new heroes, new costumes we're getting, new events. This is too good to be true. And let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it because this time we have a brand new leak from Twitch themselves. It seems they accidentally revealed the new Twitch drops for Season 3 early. They updated for the current Magic Twitch drops, and, well, yeah, they accidentally revealed everything about Season 3. And right here now on the Twitch drops page for Marvel Rivals, it says, Phoenix and Blade ignite the action in Marvel Rivals Season 3, The Abyss Awaken. So that is Season 3, it's The Abyss Awaken. Obviously, it's taking place on Clintar as Null has been awoken and he is the villain. But that confirms it, ladies and gentlemen. We confirmed it yesterday with my leak that Phoenix was coming in Season 3. And now we get the confirmation from Twitch themselves that Phoenix and Blade are the 2 heroes. Now, this is quite interesting because, I mean, people have been asking for Blade for a long time, and you should be happy you're finally going to get him. Now, Phoenix should be the first hero coming, and Blade should be coming in the mid-season, from what I'm currently aware. Now, this might mean that Phoenix or Blade have been switched up quite a bit from the leaks, because based on the leaks that were in the game files, Jean Grey, the Phoenix, and Blade were both set to be duelists. So are they going to release 2 duelists in a season? I honestly don't know. Now, the interesting thing is Season 3 is going to be a shorter season, only 2 months long, meaning we're going to get Phoenix on July 11th, and then we should be getting Blade around August 8th. So, honestly, to me, I think 2 duelists would be fine as it's such a short time frame, but there is a chance that they've changed things around and maybe Blade becomes a Vanguard. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, we will have to wait to find out. So based on what we know so far, we know that Phoenix should have her 2 forms, her human and Phoenix form. We don't know how she's going to get into it, whether she has to ult, whether she can just swap when she wants. And we had her ability list. We talked about this in my previous video. We don't know the true nature of all her abilities, just the names of them from when they were originally leaked. And we can assume her kind of abilities, but really we won't know. Now, is she going to be a flyer? Well, she will have some kind of flying ability. She had an ability name called Phoenix Wings Flying. Now, realistically, she should be able to fly in both her human form and Phoenix form, but this is Marvel Rivals, and for balancing, they could honestly do anything. But most of you are probably excited for Blade now because you've been teased so many times for Blade to be joining the game, and it's finally happening. Now, his abilities were also leaked, and they were pretty interesting. XOX Leak did reveal that his passive should have some ability where he can see enemies through walls. Now, I put 2 and 2 together and assume that this will be a Bloodlust ability where he can see low health enemies through walls. Whether that still turns out to be the case, we're not too sure. And then he had a bunch of abilities: Stomp and Slash, the Dark Knight attack, and Fang Deflect. And then his ultimate ability was New Moon, where XOX Leak also revealed that this should transform him into his vampire form, which will then unlock a new skill set, changing up his existing abilities. So those are your 2 heroes. I'm super excited for them to both come to the game. It's about time. But this Twitch drop also reveals so much more. First of all, it says get ready for all new team-ups. So we're going to get a whole new set of team-ups. We very recently got a bunch of new team-ups in the Season 2.5 update, and that's going to keep rolling. It's great to see. So plenty more team-ups are on the way. We're also getting stunning Venomized skins. So this confirms even more of the leaks, we obviously got some leaked voice lines. We had a Storm voice line.
We embrace nature's fury. Such raw power. Delicious.
Which is for a future skin. And basically these voice lines play when you inspect the emote in the menu for that skin. We had the same with the Phoenix Force Moon Knight skin. So I believe we will be getting a Venomized Storm skin. Now, I personally think this will also be kind of null themed. So they'll be nullified. They'll be kind of symbiote, but they'll be under the power of null. And we've seen that with Storm in the comics, so that one made sense. We also had this voice line for Rocket.
Whoa, hey, bite them, not me. Easy, buddy. We're supposed to be partners.
Now, this is directly tied to the skin once again, and I believe this is a Venomized Rocket. And essentially in this voice line, he's kind of talking to the symbiote in the emote when it's kind of maybe biting at him or something. And then we also had this voice line for Captain America.
Just call me Captain Clintar. I was overdue for an upgrade.
Now, I'm torn between thinking whether or not this will be a Phoenix Force version of Captain America, which would make a lot of sense. He does sound pretty empowered. It could also just be his Venomized version, the null variant of Captain America, although I feel like he sounds a little bit too happy to be this.
Okay, guys, I just gotta say something real quick. It is probably a symbiote version for this Captain America skin because it's Captain Clintar. Like, it's kind of obvious, so without a doubt, let's continue with that now.
Null themed skin. So yeah, but this confirms Venomized skins are on the way, and I am super excited for that. And I believe that also means we are finally getting the symbiote Spider-Man, because, well, they've confirmed here we're getting Venomized skins, and I mean, you have to give us symbiote Spider-Man, but also in the game files there are currently 2 comic Spider-Man skins set to be released. Now, one of them will be the Future Foundation Spider-Man skin we've already seen, and that leaves the second one. What other comic Spider-Man skin could we be getting, guys? Obviously, a symbiote Spider-Man skin for the symbiote-themed Season 3. That's right. I know you're excited. Of course, this will come with the brand new maps. We are getting 2 new Clintar maps in Season 3, the Celestial Remains and the Core map. Both will have a lot of symbiotic theming because this is a null-themed season. The Twitch League also confirmed an upcoming event. They say the sizzling summer events that will turn up the heat. Now, if you remember, in my leak that I posted, this was called the Summer Party Event, so everything lines up there. We're getting a summer event during Season 3, and this will most likely contain all of those swimsuit special skins that I've talked about in the last few videos. The swimsuit special is an upcoming Marvel comic coming on July 9th, just before Season 3, and it will feature a bunch of designs for upcoming Marvel Rivals costumes. So swimsuit special costumes are on the way, and they will most likely feature in these new sizzling summer events that will turn up the heat. So a lot to look forward to in Season 3. Of course, it's going to be brilliant when we finally get all of this revealed visually. I can't wait to see what Phoenix and Blade look like. I mean, we know what Blade looks like, but Phoenix, man, I hope they do well with her design. Now, since this is a leak from Twitch, we also got the upcoming Twitch drops. So right now in Season 2.5, you can get the magic Twitch drops, and we've already seen this. But in Season 3, starting on July 11th until August 8th, which will be the middle of Season 3, you can get the Hawkeye Twitch drop, which will be a Hawkeye Will of Galacta emote, costume, nameplate, and spray. Of course, basically just a Hawkeye skin with those Galacta colors. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is all the latest news, and that pretty much guarantees everything that we've been talking about in the last month on the run-up to Season 3 has been pretty spot on. Phoenix is the new hero. She's set to be a duelist. I think that's still going to be the case. And then Blade will shortly follow on August 8th. During the mid-season, which also lines up with all of the lore. So if you're still watching, why not subscribe? Because I bring you guys all the news as soon as it drops. And yeah, that's it from me, guys. What do you think of Season 3? I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, that was the first one. Now we're going to move on to the second one. Let's get started.
Yo, what's going on, guys? dylbobz here, and welcome back to a brand new video. The news just keeps getting better. Because if you haven't watched my last video, that breaks down the leak that shares both new heroes coming to Season 3, Phoenix and Blade, along with a bunch of skins confirmed, the events, etc. Definitely go and watch that video, but you're here for Blade's abilities. Now, Blade is indeed coming in Season 3. I believe he's coming in the second half of Season 3, that might be subject to change. But now, thanks to Rivals info, we have a description of all his abilities and how he's going to play. Now, just as a backstory, Blade has been a leaked hero since the very start of Marvel Rivals release. We knew he was coming, and of course, he's been teased in the lore a bunch. He was locked up by Dracula, we freed him, then he decided to go and sleep on Wakanda, and I guess now in Season 3, when we're fighting Null, he's decided to show up. And from the game files, he is leaked to be a duelist, and now we have his actual ability descriptions for the first time. Let's see what we have. Now, just as a preface, this is subject to change. Certain things could definitely be tweaked, but I think a lot of these will be pretty much spot on. So, the primary fire, now some of this is translated from Chinese, but the blade chopper is his primary fire, and he uses Dracula's sword to slash in front of him, inflicting damage to the enemy you hit. So it seems he is going to be a melee sword-wielding character. He will use Dracula's sword. Obviously, we've seen him depicted with it on his back in all of the Marvel Rivals artwork. And we can see the concept art of Blade. Now, he had two swords there, but we'll get into that. So yeah, his primary fire, he's wielding a sword. He slashes it in front of him. I feel like this is feeling a little bit like magic at the moment. Pretty much the exact same way that she uses her sword. But he has a second primary fire. So his secondary fire is the hunting gun. This allows you to use a hunting shotgun to fire a long-range explosive fragmentation round that delivers a large amount of shrapnel at the point of detonation. Okay, let's see. So this is like a secondary fire, a little bit like Punisher. You can switch between having your sword out or having your hunting shotgun. Now, it's long range, so you can actually be a pretty well-equipped ranged character despite being a melee sword fighting guy. But this explosive fragmentation round sounds to me a bit like Roadhog from Overwatch. Does that make sense? Like the way that you shoot and then the shot explodes at a certain point, dealing more damage if you hit that accurately. Obviously, if the person's further away, they'll be hit with less of the shrapnel, dealing less damage. And if the person's too close, I assume it then won't explode and deal the maximum amount of damage. I really do think that they've used Roadhog's gun there as sort of inspiration. That's what it sounds like to me. It might be completely different, but based on that description, I'm feeling like he's got a bit of a Roadhog shotgun. Now, we also have his abilities. So his right-click ability, the damage block. I assume this is what we thought was called Fang Deflect before. And this allows you to use Dracula's sword to set up a sword stance that reduces damage in front of you. So he does have a way of mitigating damage, and rather than just having your typical shield, he allows you to basically block incoming fire using Dracula's sword. So I assume this will just look like you're holding the sword up in front of you, and you take reduced damage, so you don't actually block all damage like a shield would. Now I wonder if the sword itself has a certain amount of health, essentially, or if you can just use this permanently. It sounds to me like you might be able to use this kind of permanently as long as it's on a maybe a little cooldown. But yeah, reducing the amount of damage that you take sounds pretty nice. It sounds like magic honestly needs something like this. And we have the E ability, Blood Liberation. Activate Vampiric Bloodline. All blood becomes Dracula's blood. Gain stronger sensors. Can't be healed at this time, but can restore Dracula's blood by inflicting damage. Okay, this ability description doesn't actually really give away too much information. So it seems like his ability lets him transform, not necessarily transform, but amp up. Gaining stronger sensors, I'm not sure what that is supposed to mean. To me, I feel like it's most likely going to be his ability where he can see through walls. It was leaked by XOX Leak before. They thought that he'd have a passive ability where he could see enemies through walls. It sounds to me like this, giving him stronger sensors, is alluding to being able to kind of smell the enemies around obstacles through walls. So I think this will maybe give him the ability to see nearby enemies through walls or something like that. And also amp up some of his other abilities. He can also not be healed. So this must be a pretty strong ability for saying you have to be antied to even use it. But because you can't be healed, it seems like dealing damage will heal you. It says it restores Dracula's blood, but I assume that means it heals you. So this ability basically puts you in a mode where you have to deal damage to keep yourself alive, but you also get some extra benefits. We also have his shift ability, so his kind of movement. Sprint forward. If wielding a gun, shoot an enemy and apply reduce healing. Or if wielding a sword, slash an enemy and apply to reduce movement speed. That actually sounds pretty cool. So if you've got the sword equipped, you can dash forward and hit the enemy. Sounds a lot like Magic's dash, to be fair. And then that will reduce the movement speed of the enemy you hit, obviously allowing you to then stay up close with the sword and deal more damage and prevent them from escaping. Or if you have the gun, you just shoot them and apply healing reduction. So not really an anti, but very close to that. Healing reduction now in Marvel Rivals, things could get a little bit messy here. I don't know what to think of that. Let me know in the comments. And then we have his ultimate ability. Now this was called New Moon when it was first leaked, so let's see. After building up your strength for a short period of time, you quickly unsheath your sword and charge forward, while releasing a powerful chop and leaving Dracula's sword frantically chopping the area behind you. What? Okay, sorry, what? So it's basically a quick charge in one direction, I imagine. Can you control it on the way? Who knows? But you seem to chop people in front of you at the same time as leaving the sword chopping behind you. So it just seems like a huge area of effect damage ability. I mean, he is a DPS, so it makes sense. I guess this would be a good way to initiate or kind of take someone out. It sounds to me a little bit like Black Panther's ult, where you kind of aim it in a direction, but it also leaves a damaging ability behind you. Interesting. I don't know what to think of that. It doesn't sound that crazy, but obviously in practice, this thing could go absolutely wild. So let me know your thoughts on those abilities. We do have his team-ups as of when he was originally leaked. Of course, once again, subject to change, but in the game files, he has the team-up with Cloak and Dagger. This is the same as the Moon Knight team-up, so he can just be shrouded and gain healing. And like I said, his passive ability may be similar to Punisher, where you can see people through walls, and that is actually just a permanent passive. And then his Blood Liberation ability could make you stronger in other areas. So that is what we know so far about Blade. Like I said, I don't know if he's coming first or second. I'm led to believe that he's coming second on August 8th, and Phoenix will be releasing before him. But I feel like at this point, so much is getting leaked, we should be seeing a trailer pretty soon. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you interpreted the abilities slightly different, or maybe you have some references where other characters sound similar to these abilities, be it from another game or what, do let me know. And yeah, I'm super excited for Blade. So I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
While most drivers